What if the greatest literary masterworks in human history were intentionally erased, leaving behind only tantalizing whispers of missing masterpieces? William Shakespeare wrote 37 famous plays, yet not a single page of his original handwritten manuscripts survives today. We possess no drafts, no working notes, and no personal letters. The complete vanishing of his original writings remains history's most baffling literary enigma. In 1598, a contemporary scholar compiled a list of Shakespeare's known plays, casually mentioning a title called Love's Labours Won. For centuries, critics believed this was merely an alternative title for a known comedy. However, discovered bookseller inventories from the 17th century proved that this lost play actually existed, bound and sold separately before completely vanishing into thin air. The mystery deepened when royal court records revealed payments for another missing play titled Cardenio, performed twice by Shakespeare's acting troupe in 1613. Based on a story within Don Quixote, this play disappeared from public records shortly after its performance. Scholars have hunted through private libraries, church vaults, and aristocratic attics for centuries, seeking a single surviving handwritten copy. Why did every original page written by the world's most celebrated playwright vanish without a trace? During the Elizabethan era, theater companies viewed play scripts as valuable commercial secrets rather than immortal literature. Once a play was printed, working manuscripts were routinely discarded, reused as scrap paper, or burned as kindling by theater workers who had no idea of their future value. Disasters also played a brutal role in destroying these irreplaceable cultural treasures. In 1613, a cannon fired during a performance of Henry VIII ignited the thatched roof of the original Globe Theatre. Within less than 2 hours, the entire playhouse burned to the ground, potentially consuming the master copies of Shakespeare's original drafts stored within its backstage archive drawers. Decades later, the Great Fire of London in 1666 swept through the heart of the publishing district surrounding St. Paul's Cathedral. Booksellers had rushed their valuable inventories into subterranean church vaults for protection, thinking the stone walls would save them. Instead, the intense heat turned the underground chambers into sealed ovens, incinerating thousands of rare Renaissance manuscripts instantly. Yet, despite these catastrophic fires, rumors persisted that hidden caches of manuscripts had somehow survived in remote locations. 18th-century antiquarians claimed that Shakespeare's personal documents were buried alongside him inside Holy Trinity Church in Stratford-upon-Avon. This sparked intense debate, leading some obsession-driven scholars to demand the opening of the playwright's grave, despite a famous curse inscribed on his tombstone. The absence of physical manuscripts fueled one of the most polarizing controversies in literary history, the Shakespeare authorship question. Skeptics argued that a man from a provincial town without a university education could not have written such brilliant plays. They asserted that missing manuscripts were deliberately hidden to cover up the true identity of a high-ranking aristocratic author. For centuries, rival candidates were proposed, ranging from Sir Francis Bacon to Edward de Vere, the Earl of Oxford. Anti-Stratfordians claimed these aristocrats hid their identities to protect their social status. However, without original handwritten manuscripts showing cross-outs, drafts, or signatures, neither side could definitively prove who actually held the quill that created Hamlet and Macbeth. The desperate search for physical evidence eventually led to shocking, desperate acts of deception and literary fraud. In the late 18th century, a young man named William Henry Ireland stunned the literary world by producing supposed original Shakespeare documents, including personal letters, signed legal contracts, and even a completely unknown play titled Vortigern and Rowena. Scholars initially celebrated Ireland's incredible discoveries as the ultimate recovery of lost heritage, until experts exposed them as clever counterfeits. Ireland had forged the archaic handwriting using old inks mixed from recipe books and blank flyleaves torn from 17th-century Bibles. This infamous scandal made future researchers extremely cautious when evaluating any newly surfaced Renaissance manuscripts. As decades passed, the hunt shifted from chaotic fraud to rigorous scientific investigation inside dusty university archives. Scholars realized that while Shakespeare's original drafts were gone, faint physical traces of his lost writings might still exist hidden within surviving printed books, disguised as marginal notes, printer's marks, or forgotten binding fragments reused by early bookbinders. Bookbinders in the 17th century frequently recycled discarded paper manuscripts to reinforce the spines and covers of new printed books. Thousands of rare Renaissance play manuscripts were sliced into thin strips and glued inside binding structures. Modern scholars began using advanced imaging technology to peer inside ancient bindings without damaging the original delicate leather covers. Modern multispectral imaging technology has recently revolutionized the search for lost texts, revealing invisible ink beneath heavily faded pages. By capturing light across non-visible spectrums, scientists can uncover erased text, faded annotations, and hidden watermarks on ancient documents. This cutting-edge tool allows researchers to read words that have been completely invisible to the human eye for centuries. In 2010, researchers made a tantalizing breakthrough while analyzing a heavily annotated 17th century playbook at a private institution. Advanced digital scanning revealed handwritten notes and structural alterations that matched the unique theatrical staging techniques of Shakespeare's original company. Could this be a working script used directly by the bard's fellow actors during original stage rehearsals? Another intriguing clue centers on Sir Thomas More, an Elizabethan manuscript play held in the British Library. Handwritten by multiple authors, a 3-page section known as Hand 3 features handwriting and stylistic choices that leading paleographers believe belong to William Shakespeare himself. If verified, these 3 pages represent the only surviving literary manuscript in his hand. Beyond physical fragments, digital humanities researchers are using artificial intelligence to analyze linguistic patterns across millions of early modern printed texts. Algorithmic stylometry compares sentence structure, vocabulary frequency, and metrical rhythms to identify Shakespeare's unmistakable stylistic fingerprint. This revolutionary digital detective work has already identified his hidden hand in several collaborative plays previously deemed anonymous. These artificial intelligence algorithms recently re-examined the mysterious manuscript of Cardenio, long thought to be forever lost to time. In 1727, playwright Louis Theobald claimed he possessed 3 original manuscripts of Cardenio, which he adapted into a new play titled Double Falsehood. Skeptics dismissed his claims as a hoax, assuming Theobald had fabricated the entire story. However, recent computer analysis of Double Falsehood revealed 2 distinct stylistic voices buried beneath the 18th century revisions. One voice matches Shakespeare's late writing style, while the other corresponds to his collaborator, John Fletcher. This breakthrough suggests that Theobald really did own the lost manuscript of Cardenio, proving that lost plays can survive hidden within later adaptations. While technology resurrects lost words from printed adaptations, the physical search for original handwritten folios continues across the globe. Uncatalogued private collections in ancestral manor houses, remote monastery libraries in Europe, and dusty attic trunks in small English villages still hold secrets. Every year, forgotten 16th century books surface in unexpected places, reigniting hopes of finding an original page. Consider the extraordinary discovery in 2014, when an unrecorded copy of Shakespeare's first folio was found in a small public library in Saint-Omer, France. Left untouched on a shelf for over 2 centuries, this rare book contained handwritten annotations from the 1600s, proving that priceless Renaissance literary treasures still lie hidden in plain sight around the world. The ultimate significance of these lost manuscripts extends far beyond simple historical curiosity or collector monetary value. Original handwritten drafts would offer an unprecedented window into Shakespeare's creative mind, revealing how he crafted iconic speeches, revised famous dialogue, and wrestled with legendary characters. Seeing his scratch-outs and revisions would demystify the genius, showing a working artist at work. Until those lost pages are uncovered, the absence of original manuscripts keeps the Shakespeare mythos vibrantly alive. The missing drafts invite continuous reinterpretation, fresh detective work, and endless debate. They remind us that history is not a static, completed record, but a living puzzle where major missing pieces are still waiting to be discovered under our very eyes. Today, combining artificial intelligence with advanced multispectral imaging, we stand closer than ever to recovering these lost voices of the past. Somewhere in a forgotten archive or beneath recycled book bindings, Shakespeare's lost words remain waiting in silence. The ultimate literary mystery remains unresolved, ready to yield its next secret to those who dare to search.